although these past few live streams weren't really eventful, we do have a couple of promos we need to talk about. Stand up! Vanguard! Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and today we've got some new promo cards, or at least not today. The last couple of days, Bushfight has been revealing more and more promos, and today I want to put them all together in one video and talk about them in their own respective, highlight and see if they're anything good, or they're just niche little promos that should have been promos in the first place. And today we've got a total of 7 different promos, so let's jump straight into the very first promo that was revealed, I believe last weekend, which is a brand new Link Joker Deleter card, which is this Grade 1 Baal Deleter Jarwell. And its abilities are continuous rearguard circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is deleted, when this unit would be put into your drop zone by your card's ability, this card is regarded as free rearguards. So this might look odd, and you might question yourself, what's the point of this skill? This mainly interacts with one specific card, and that's Lay Down Deleter Given. That Grade 2 allows you to discard 6 cards or retire 6 rearguards, or a combination of the two, to restand your Vanguard as long as your opponent's Vanguard is deleted. This was the main pressure play that the leaders has access to, as they could restand their Vanguards, and usually their VR Gradle, I believe, that swings with the double critical. The problem with Given was that it was kind of overcosted with 6 cards that you need to discard or retired, but with the latest support they got cards that can recall themselves, and now this Grade 1 is the latest addition to that support, which basically counts as free cards. This is a really nice addition to make the leaders a bit more consistent and give them more overall value, but not probably good enough to make them actually competitively viable in any kind of shape or form. But it also has a second ability, which is Auto Rearguard Circle. When it attacks, this unit gets power plus 2k until the end of the battle. So it becomes a 10k booster, which is fine. It gives you some early aggression. I think it's a nice addition for the leaders, but it doesn't make them any more playable than they are right now. So yeah, it's fine. If I'm gonna be very honest, it won't change Link Joker anytime soon, if I'm going to be very honest about it. Now, another card that we've got, and this is a little bit more close to home, is a Gear Chronicle promo, which is this puppy, Gear Puppy Protecting Memories. And its abilities are continuous from Bind Zone. This card gets Grade plus 4. Now that sounds very promising, as it will help us to accelerate with our Bind Zone count for Mystery Flare. But there is a problem with this card, and that's the fact that it's a Grade 0. So yes, it may count as a Grade 4, but the problem here is we are now either replacing a Grade 4 that we would otherwise play in our deck for a Grade 0, which still doesn't increase the consistency of the deck with the wacky grades that we're running. We're replacing a Grade 4 with a Grade 0. That's not a Grade 1 or a Grade 2. If this was a Grade 1 or a Grade 2, then it would actually matter. But now it doesn't really do anything for that particular skill. Granted, it does have a second skill, which is Auto Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle, it boosted, costs bind this unit and draw a card. That makes the card a lot better because it's not reliant on other cards to bind it for him. He can bind himself, and it is a cycle card within itself, which is nice, but it doesn't excuse the fact that it's a Grade 0. It still gives the deck the same consistency problems it already has, and that's the fact that it's running wacky grades. It runs Grade 4s, it runs not a lot of Grade 3s, and now they also should run this Grade 0. If this was a Grade 1, it would actually matter. But because it's a Grade 0, I don't really believe it's going to be played all that much. You might try to run it because it's better than just a vanilla Grade 4, as it at least can be called to the field, and it gives you the cycle to increase the consistency of the overall deck, but you have still the inherent problems that the deck already faces. Now, for the third promo that we've got one for Nubatama, and this is very interesting because we have Stealth Beast Yadoneko, and Yadoneko has the abilities Continuous in Soul. If you have a Vanguard with Magatsu in its card name, this card gets Grade plus 2. And as seen as a Grade 1, it becomes a Grade 3. And that's very important because the old Magatsu Vanguard has a Soul Blast free skill. So thanks to this grade 1, that card becomes a lot faster because if you have this card as your right option or as a card in your hand because of its second ability, then we could have a Magatsu turn a turn faster, which is very important in today's format where the game is a lot faster than it used to be at the beginning of the reboot. So this is a nice addition for the Magatsu engine. But keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily need to be used for cost of a Magatsu card, so this could interact with other finishers within Nubatama that needs Great Freeze to be Soul Blast for it, like Tachikaze for example. So there are some interesting interactions that we could apply here with Magatsu Storm. But it also has a second ability, and this is where we get to the point where you don't really need to write this card, as its second ability is although Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle it boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Nagatsu in its card name, cost, put this unit into your soul, choose any number of your normal units on Rearguard Circle, and return them to your hand. So this basically allows you to bounce back your entire board, which sets you up for your Magatsu Superior Call effect, where you can then call new units to the field. This is very powerful in the Magatsu engine, because now you aren't reliant on multiple cards that allow you to bounce maybe one card and open up a spot like the Magatsu Guild, the grade 2 that puts itself into the soul and bounces another card. This is just a grade 1 that puts itself into the soul, then bounces everything back, and because of the timing, you can immediately Soul Blast it with Magatsu Storm to then recall new units to the field, which you probably just bounced that particular turn. So it's a very powerful grade 1 for the Magatsu Storm engine. Now, granted, this probably will not make Magatsu Storm any better than it already is. Of course, it will make the deck better, but probably not good enough to stand on its own 2 feet in the current format. But it's a nice addition for the Magatsu players to have a card like this to their disposal, as they now can try to do something with the Magatsu Storm or the Magatsu engine, because it now has an actual play that's potentially fast enough in the current day. Now, for the fourth promo that we've got, it is a Pale Moon promo, which belongs to the Nightmare Doll archetype, which is Nightmare Doll Tosca. And this is very interesting because Nightmare Dolls are going to get support in the Clan Selection Plus set. So this could actually be much better than it is right now, because Tosca's ability is Auto Vanguard to Rearguard Circle. When placed from hand, look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck, put up to 1 Workroid from among them into your soul, and shuffle your deck. So this basically is somewhat similar to the Grade 3 Searcher, only now it searches anything from the archetype or just Workroid in general, which could potentially work with Harry, as the Magia Dolls are Workroids, but let's stick to the Nightmare Dolls for now. This is very nice because it allows you to put in the Grade 1s and the Grade 2s, which then can be superior called out with Alice. A very good combo piece is Jumping Jill, which is a Workroid, which then can help you to set up for your combos. Now granted, the way how this card works, she sadly doesn't help us with the main Grade 3 play of the Nightmare Doll Alice and Nightmare Doll Carol combo, because in that combo you want to Soul Charge a Grade 3 from the Rearguard Circle during the mid-battle phase. So this card basically just allows you to set up your soul for other cards, or maybe in combination with Jumping Jill and Nightmare Doll Alice to superior call something out, but not necessarily with the superior right engine of Carol. But still, the fact that this card allows you to put any Nightmare Doll from the top 5 into your soul could help you to set up for all your other plays, because at the same time it helps to filter your deck for maybe non-Grade 3 cards. You could keep them in your deck, so the chance that you Soul Charge one with your Carol the moment that you write it increase significantly, which then could help you to get those free pluses you want with this particular Nightmare Doll deck. And it may be even much stronger than we see right now, depending on the support that we're going to get from the Clan Selection Plus set with the new Nightmare Doll card that has been revealed, but not with the skill yet. So there is definitely some potential for Tosca. Right now, it's an interesting, nice addition to the Nightmare Doll engine. It gives them a bit more options, but not necessarily a lot of changes to the deck itself. Now, for the fifth promo that we've got, it's a brand new Genesis card, as we've got this Grade 2 Venus Witch Rappler, which means it's new Witch Sorcerer support, and it does somewhat help with that archetype, as it has the skill Auto Rearguard Circle. When placed, you would put a card from a drop zone into your soul. Now this is really interesting because this allows you to put anything from your drop zone into your soul. And because it's on place, you could synergize that with the grade 3 card from the engine, from the archetype, so you could bounce it back and call it again to get another card from your drop zone into the soul. So if you have specific cards that you can cycle, or you can maybe fetch them out from the soul with something like Gleipnir, for example, then Repel can help you to set up more for your consistent engine. This could also somewhat synergize with Vanguard to an extent, if you can just put a grade 3 or grade 2 back into your soul that then can be soul blasted out to search out a specific card from your deck, but these are just the minor plays that you can do. But her second ability really tells us how we are supposed to utilize this card, as her second ability is Autumn Rearguard Circle. Once a turn, when it attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost, counterblast 1, choose one of your units, and until the end of the battle, this unit gets the power and critical that unit had gotten from trigger effects this turn. So this is the exact same skill, or to some extent, as the grade 3 Blow Antler Dragon, I believe, a double R from the previous Genesis support wave that could copy the trigger power of one of your units. Now that costed you 3 soul, this will cost you 1 counterblast. Now, what this card is supposed to do is basically be Himiko support. And with the fact that we have the Regalia Himiko budget archetype, this is a very nice addition to that budget deck. Because what you can do with this card is basically call to the field, put a critical trigger that you use to guard in the early game into your soul. That means that you now don't really have the issue of getting that trigger into your soul with Himiko for her condition. You don't have to waste a trigger from hand or from your deck to get that value. Now you can just guard with it and then get it into the drop zone, and with this grade 2, get it into your soul. Now, once you utilize Himiko, you put all those triggers or all those criticals on your rearguard unit. That's probably your restandable Yggdrasil. And then you can utilize this grade 2 to copy all those criticals and have the same pressure on her. So you have 3 attacks that could swing with triple or maybe quadruple critical right at the get-go. That's very devastating if used correctly, and this could be somewhat of a synergy within the Witches and Sorcerers archetype itself, but from what I see right now how this works, it's completely a solid foundation for the Himiko archetype or the Himiko budget deck, so I think it's a nice addition for Genesis in general. Now, those were the 5 promos that are going to be in a special pack that will be released somewhere later this month or earlier next year in Japan, I believe, but we also got 2 new promos revealed today. And one of them is this new Tachikaze grade 1, which is Illuminating Dragon Parol Salam. And its ability is Autumn Rearguard Circle. When placed, cost, rest this unit, and put 3 cards from top of your deck face down as equip gauges for this unit. So basically, instantly you could gain 3 gauges. Now, this card doesn't necessarily do anything with those gauges, but it could be a very interesting card in a combo play within Tachikaze. You can utilize this for your Anger Blader play, and you can immediately set up your Sweep Rock or Kanto. Because you gain 3 gauges, you can combine this with maybe a Savage Raider, because on attack, you can move those 3 gauges to your Sweep Rock or Kanto and set it up right then and there. You can also do it in the main phase with Sandila Foe by resting that card as well. So you rest both these grade 1s to give your Sweep Rock or Kanto or whatever unit you want immediately 3 gauges. Now, granted, this isn't the most powerful type of card you could have for Tachikaze, but it's an interesting niche option where you can immediately gain 3 gauges out of nowhere, but it's sadly only a one-time use because it's unplaced. But then again, in an Anger Blader deck, you can then just immediately gauge itself to something else to gain even more gauges. I mean, it is very effective to generating a lot of gauges out of nowhere, but the question is how effectively you can use them. Yeah, that's the question that will need to be answered once this card actually is tested out. Now, for the final new promo that we've got this week is a brand new Angel Feather card, which is probably more questionable than the Tachikaze one that we just discussed, as we've got this grade 1, Huge Scissors Angel. And its ability is Autumn Rearguard Circle. When placed, if your damage zone has a normal unit, cost Soul Blast 1, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone and put a face-up normal unit from your damage zone on the top of your deck. So basically it allows you to swap the top card of your deck with a normal unit from your damage zone. I'm not so sure what the use out of this card is, because there aren't really any type of normal unit that gain benefit from putting itself back to the deck. And you effectively are making your drive checks potentially worse, or maybe even rescue checks worse than they already are, because you now know for sure that one of those cards is going to be a non-trigger card. That said, it could maybe have some synergy with maybe the Nokiel engine by putting a Nokiel back into the deck that can then be searched out with one of your other Nokiels if you're out of targets to gain more value over time. And you could put that card away from the top by then shuffling it with maybe the Great Free Searcher, but that's really stretching it very far. Maybe I'm overlooking an interaction with a specific Angel Feather card, but as far as I can tell right now, I don't really see any use for this promo at all to some extent. It sounds really awkward and is really niche to some extent. Maybe the new Angel Feather support with the new Milk of Malek will make sense of this card, but for now, yeah, it's kind of whatever, if I'm gonna be very honest. And that basically rounds up all the new promos that we've got revealed to us this week. That said, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new promo cards for these clans. They are looking pretty interesting, and I think the most interesting to me personally is the one from Magatsu Storm, as it opens up some interesting niche plays and options. So I'm definitely gonna try to work something out with that card and see if there's something there. As for the rest, yeah, they're kind of okay, they're whatever. The Gear Chronicle one, yeah, it's fine. Wished it was at least a grade 1, then it would actually matter. But hey, we cannot have them all, right? As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one!